Okay, so somebody here feels good. Can I get a I feel good?
I feel good.
There you go. Everybody, we are Event Ensemble Spotlight with the Big Zephyr, Mr. Bill Babin. Welcome. So happy to have you join us. I hope you brought your drumsticks with you.
I did not.
Okay, all right. Well, so for those who don't know, back in the, before the dark times, before the dark ages, before we were sequestered to our little, bubbles here, Bill would always bring his drumsticks, and whenever it was his turn to introduce himself, he would do a
drum solo.
Well, yeah, but you got a desk, you got some hands, you give me a little beat, something.
Yeah, exactly. Books, cups, thermoses, and the backs of a chair, as well as the table.
So you like hitting on things?
Wow, that's wide open. Yes.
Well, I know you're married, so you don't want to hit on the ladies. We'll leave it at that. Okay. The Big Zephyr. What is a zephyr?
A zephyr is actually a wind. It's really something commonly associated with sailing and with port towns and cities. And then because it is a wind, it's like a nor'wester, except nobody can name a band a nor'wester.
And it's not a haboob.
No. It's been associated with trains. So in the days, the big heyday of training, like, the first half of the 20th century, a lot of trains were named Zephyr. California Zephyr was one of them. And then it became associated with roller coasters.
There it is.
For the same reason. And that's really where I first encountered it. And there was an amusement park in New Orleans where I grew up, and they had this wonderful old wooden roller coaster called the Zephyr. And it was so important in the lives of everybody who grew up in New Orleans in the 60s. So that's how it came.
And so the Big Zephyr is your band?
Yes.
For how long now?
15 years. Amazing.
Wow. Really?
I look back on that and I go, no, this is not possible, but it is.
Wow, 15 years. Now, you're still a member of the band. Are there any original members?
Well, no. They really aren't. But Mike Edwards came on right along about 1.5, 2 years in, and he's been with me a long, long, long time. And then Russ came in probably about 10 years ago. And Russ and Mike are very old childhood friends, played together in the 60s and 70s. And then Jamie Lee came into the band about 7 years ago. And Dennis is our new baby who joined. He's our pandemic kid. He joined the band when we shut down in March.
But you're not really shut down, are you?
No, we're not.
You're still working?
Yeah, we're still working, but mostly in acoustic and in duo and trio formats. Although we had two corporate events in November. So, and we just did another one the other night. Really small, but we're working.
For entertainers, musicians, DJs, comedians, performers, we are so accustomed to having large audiences, lots of sound and claps and applause and noise, and it's that whole experience. As New Orleans is filled with that. Just think about Mardi Gras. Does it diminish for you that you're doing the same show, but there's only 15 people in the room?
I think it does. And I have really worked with my staff to live for the music and the performance and not just the audience, because it's really easy when you ask that question. It's very easy to live only for the audience. And when the audience isn't there, then you have no life as a performer. It's like well, there's nobody clapping, there's nobody screaming, ho hum, you know, and it's not a good mindset for a performer. A performer really has to live for the performance itself, whether there's an audience there or not. He's got to be acting, got to be on stage, got to have the energy. It's all got to be there, whether it's 5, 2, 1, or 1,500 or 15,000. And you can see that. It's one of the reasons why I love musical theater, is because it's so obvious in musical theater. When these people are there for the performance. Yeah, there's a live audience in front, but you can just tell. And if you go to smaller theaters, it's even more obvious that these people are really living the charm of the dance and the song and the script.
Wow. We've talked a lot about music. I don't think we've ever touched on that aspect. Yeah. And yet it's so profound and so important. I'm blown away for the moment for your expertise in recognizing that. So please take it as a huge compliment, because I mean it that way.
Well, and one more detail: lights. The lights shine in your eyes, and you can't see the audience if you have a really good venue. Mm-hmm. So basically, you're playing to a black room anyway. You're not making eye contact, except for maybe a few people that are that close to the stage. So, I mean, it's wonderful when you have a lighting technician who can say, "Hey, Fred, put some light on the audience right now," so you can make that connection. But for the most part, the lighting inhibits your ability to make eye contact with the audience. So
it reminds me a lot of radio DJs, radio announcers. They have no connection with their audience other than the microphone that's in front of their face. Right. And yet they need to be able to engage and be compelling. And I think that's wonderful that you're teaching your musicians to do that. So let's talk about the music, because obviously we're not talking a brand new band. You've been around for 10, 15 years. Are you playing music from 10, 15 years ago, 20, 30 years ago? Or are you playing, yo, baby, yo, what you know, we're going to do it right here, right now?
Well, it's really obvious that we're born and bred in the 60s and 70s. It really is. We do have a pretty good sprinkling of 80s and 90s and 2000s, but it's a sprinkling. So, for example, we do a song called Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon.
Right.
Which is just an incredible, it's a newer song, but for us, I think it's probably 7 or 8 years old. And we do Uptown Funk. When it comes to country music, we probably do a little bit more newer country music with bands like Little Big Town and Lady Antebellum and Maren Morris. But we're big time in country into all the country girls, Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert, Martina McBride, and older ones than that, Kathy Mattea, and who's the Strawberry Wine Girl? I'm sorry, I forgot her name. So it does lean more towards music that's 20 years older and beyond that.
I was waiting for you to drop Linda Ronstadt in that early country sound, because she was considered early country in the early 70s, was she not?
Yes. Yeah. Well, gosh, she's an artist. We don't have time to. She is just the biggest female artist of the 20th century, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you can talk about Whitney Houston and about Barbra Streisand and Judy Garland and all these other people, and tell me that any of those other artists who are absolutely impeccable, but tell me that they did the variety that Linda Ronstadt did. Everything from Nelson Riddle and the Great American Songbook to Canciones de mi Padre, all of the tradition Mexican ballet folkloreo music, to all the incredible arena rock, and then, like you said, the country as well. So, I mean, that's why we have a Linda Ronstadt tribute act,
Oh,
because
wait a minute. You have a Linda Ronstadt tribute?
yes, yeah,
Well, tell me
it's
about that.
it's actually called Blue Bayou, a tribute to the music of Linda Ronstadt and the Eagles, because we, of course, also love the Eagles for their vocal harmonies, and the band is really a vocally driven band. We have a cool guitar player, and we have a killer piano player who can tear it up anytime you want. But the band and its presentation is about vocals and vocal harmonies, because as a producer, I believe that audiences relate to the melody and to the lyrics.
Mhm.
And so I want that out there and out front. Plus, I have listened to enough bands who have one singer that I'm sick of it. And I want a more a wider spread of tone, of textures, of timbre, so that you've got male voice, you got female voice, then you got another male voice, then you got two male voices and a harmony. And I want all of that richness. So that's another reason why we all fell in love. And the people in the band were of the same philosophy in terms of vocals. And so naturally, we fell in love with Linda, who says that singing with other people is one of the most intimate experiences. It's like sex. And her, when you listen to her arrangements, you hear those harmonies. And when I hear people pay tribute to her without harmonies, what can I say? I want to strangle them.
Yeah.
Because she gave those people space on her stage to sing with her. And her, Emmylou Harris, and Dolly Parton, their albums that are called Trio. I mean, it's no more obvious than those incredible songs that they put together, singing together.
Yeah. I recall her cover of Elvis Presley's "Can't Help Falling in Love," and there was a gentleman doing the backup harmony vocal with her, and I don't even know if he got credit for it, but it's what made that particular song so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, so that show is it's out there. Matter of fact, we're rehearsing it right now. It's been canceled like 4 times in the pandemic, but we're rolling forward, and the doors are going to open, and we're going to have our Linda Ronstadt show up on stage.
That's wonderful. Keep us in touch. Your contact information will be in the show notes, but it is a place that you can also let people who have watched this know when certain shows are coming up. I'll share the link with you so that you can use it as a place to drop it, because that's great news. Vocally driven is so important. We saw Pat Benatar live before the pandemic, but notice that I didn't say we heard her. We only saw her. The band was so loud you couldn't hear her voice. Yeah, it was really sad. And you need to have that proper balance between the music and the vocal, so that both get to share their moment and have their moment without trying to step over each other.
Right.
And that's what I like about your sound, is because it respects that.
Thank you.
You bet. So are we to listen, dance, or both?
Both.
So you go both ways?
Oh, definitely. We obviously do a lot of dance shows, but I am trying to push the band into more of the concert format. And we just did a Christmas show on December 13th, which was truly a concert. Everybody sitting down at tables, audience limited to 50 people, but it was just spectacular. And we, as with everything we do, we have this crazy eclectic mix of Christmas music. Everything from Do You Hear and I'll Be Home for Christmas to rock and roll, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and Merry Christmas Baby, an old R&B blues tune, and everything in between, including Jingle Bell Rock and Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. And we love it when the audience is dancing, obviously, and they're just so in tune with us, and there's this back and forth going on. It's so much fun. But everybody in the band also has a pride in musicianship and in presentation. And that's what a concert gives us. It gives us this opportunity to present. Here is something that's really important to us. And that's actually the first time we did that Christmas show in a concert format. And it was just wonderful to put together. Let's face it, I have my own feelings and thoughts and personal beliefs about everything in the world, and that colors what the band does. And I don't have any problem sharing that. And the Christmas season is really important. And I really enjoyed connecting the songs and the messages of the songs to present some thoughts about hope and peace and love, especially at, considering what we're facing. And so that's another level, another part of what I consider is the band's uniqueness, that we're not just presenting a music and presenting a performance, but we're also presenting us and sharing basically our love. And, I'm really happy about that.
It's nice to hear your pride of ownership of what is truly a musician's band that's vocal driven. I just, again, I love it. And it's one of the reasons why anytime anyone mentions music outside of a DJ in Ensemble, Bill Babin is the first words out of everybody's mouth, because you have musicians, you have the band, you have vocalists, and you can do, as you said, double, trio, full montage.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. We love it. So
I appreciate that.
I just have one question that will wrap this all up. There's one song that you absolutely must play. What is that song?
Oh, like me personally?
Well, I'm not talking to Russ, and I'm not talking to, the others, so it must be you.
Well, there's those that are in the repertoire and those that are not in the repertoire. It's like,
all right, I'll let you double dip twice. One that's in and one that's out.
the one that I love doing as a drummer. I mean, you're asking me this. It's like, man, well, this is I shall say no, I can't say that. I love doing Long Train Running by the Doobie Brothers because it is a funky and driving deep groove. And it's got some great opportunities for the drummer to sort of highlight and just hang in there.
That is so interesting, because that has such a strong, distinctive front end guitar riff that happens at the beginning. The down.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and a lot of the Doobie stuff is like that. But this particular song, it's tempo at around 120 beats a minute, and it's funky. And there's this interplay between the different parts of the drum kit that is just super incredible. And the whole piece has such a crescendo at the end of it. And,
because it ends on the high note, as opposed to we're fading out,
right.
Kind of. I mean, it has a really good strong ending, and I like that. Also, as you can see, I know the song and I'm a fan of it. I never would have thought that would have been your pick. But you mentioned that it's 120 beats per minute. It's perfect for dance. I'm surprised it's not in your repertoire. Or is this the one that is?
That one is.
Okay. Yeah. So which one is not in the repertoire?
Oh gosh. So now you got me wanting to think, well, am I talking about playing for heart or am I talking about playing for the drum kit? Okay. So,
well, I think everything is about heart for you, but you go ahead.
It is. So a song about heart that we don't do would be The Weight by the band. Just the whole story about meeting the devil and all this other sort of goofy stuff, and I have a special connection to that group. It's very close to my heart. And some songs for me to just play, I feel like I've loved these people, these musicians, for so many years. It's a humbling experience to be able to sit there and be in their songs. So I'm not much of a solo drummer, especially a guy like Buddy Rich or any of these crazy modern rocker guys. Like anyway, and for me, a lot of it is playing with heart, and I'm connected to these musicians, and it's just such a great experience to be in their music and playing. So that's the two for now.
You know what? The two are just fine. And thank you for sharing your heart, your passion, and your music with us today in the spotlight.
It's been my pleasure, Scott. Thank you so much.